All right, let's dive into a single powerful sentence from the ancient world, an idea that was meant to completely change a society filled with spiritual anxiety. Just think about that for a second. For folks living in first century Ephesus, this wasn't some hypothetical question. This was their day-to-day reality. To really get why this idea was such a bombshell, we've got to take a trip back in time to the chaotic, crowded, and spiritually jam-packed streets of ancient Ephesus. Life back then was, in a very real sense, a spiritual battle. Our source tells us that every part of life, we're talking business deals, athletic competitions, you name it, was seen as being controlled by unseen forces. To succeed, you absolutely needed a spiritual power on your side because you were constantly afraid someone else was using their spiritual juice to bring you down. And this created a world where your spiritual life was totally fragmented. You had to go to specific gods for specific things. You'd visit Artemis for protection, but then you'd have to go see Demeter for a good harvest, or Asclepius if you got sick. It turned into a kind of competitive spiritual marketplace, and the whole thing was driven by fear. So into this world of fear and constant spiritual bargaining, the Apostle Paul comes along and introduces this radically simple, all-in-one solution. The revolutionary punch of this one sentence comes down to a single word: every. Think about it. That one word was designed to make the 50-plus pagan temples in Ephesus totally unnecessary. It offered one single source for every spiritual need. Protection, success, healing, the whole shebang was available in one place. Okay, so you're probably asking, how exactly does this all-in-one blessing get delivered? Well, our source breaks it down into 3 really powerful actions that all build on each other. Paul basically lays out this new spiritual reality in 3 parts. You get a new identity because you were chosen, you get a new freedom because you are redeemed, and you get a secure future because you are sealed. So first up, being chosen was all about the idea of adoption. And this wasn't some casual thing. In the Greco-Roman world, euthanasia was a formal legal process. It meant you were officially transferred into a new family, becoming a full-on heir with all the rights to an inheritance. Paul's audience would have immediately understood how huge that was. Second, we have redemption. And this analogy just nails it. It's not just about being bought back. It's about a complete restoration. It's like finding a beautiful piece of jewelry that's been tossed in a dumpster, all rusty and filthy, and then painstakingly polishing it back to its original, brilliant state. It's a total transformation. And finally, being sealed. The word here is araban, which was a common legal and business term. It literally means a down payment or a pledge. And this is key. This blessing wasn't a temporary fix you had to keep re-earning by running around to different gods. The araban was like a legal guarantee. It was the first installment that ensured the full inheritance was secure. The whole point was to replace constant uncertainty with this profound, settled assurance. Now, you might have noticed a little phrase that keeps popping up over and over again. Well, it's not a mistake. It's actually the key that unlocks this entire concept. Our source points out that this phrase shows up more than 10 times. And that repetition is intentional. Every single one of these blessings, being chosen, redeemed, and sealed, is located exclusively in Christ. That's the great unifier. You could even think of it as the spiritual address where all these blessings live. So, what's the end result of all this? I mean, what does it actually change in the real world? Well, it's a profound shift in your entire way of looking at life. The journey here is from a life of constant spiritual fear, of unseen forces, of curses, of all these competing gods, to a life of deep security and confidence. The whole goal was to trade that frantic, non-stop need for appeasement for a quiet, settled assurance. And for Paul, when you move from that much fear to this kind of incredible freedom, what's the only natural response? It's not more anxiety. It's what our source calls a breathless invocation. Just this overwhelming feeling of praise and thankfulness. So, we've just unpacked the mechanics of a truly revolutionary idea. The shift it proposes, from a world of fragmented fear to one of unified assurance, really leaves us with a final, powerful thought to consider.